Hi and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave and this is episode 1853B and today's date is April 28th, 2019 and the title of the episode is Coded Message Sent, Newly Discovered Evidence Will Be Made Public. Now, before I get started, I wanted to talk about staying healthy as we grow older. Stem cells are your body's natural healing system. You get a cut on your finger one day and the next day it heals up. Well, how does that happen? Easy. It's your bodily stem cells at work. Sad part is by age 65, you've lost 90% of your adult stem cells. But now you may be able to boost stem cells levels naturally within 1 hour by 30% with a new plant-based capsule. Everyone's chemistry is different, but for many, this produces a variety of benefits to help reduce the effects of aging. This product comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Please visit their website at stemup.com. Let's get into the economic collapse, political and geopolitical news. Now we can see the deep state, the mainstream media, they're pulling out all the stops. They're trying to get Trump any way they possibly can, no matter what happens. And a lot of it's backfiring on them. I mean, the New York Times, they came out and they put out this cartoon in their international edition, which was very anti-Semitic, and they showed Trump walking Netanyahu. He was on a leash, and it looks like the New York Times now apologized for this, but it seems that the deep state players, the mainstream media, they're pushing their agenda very, very hard to try to get Trump, and a lot of it is going to backfire on them. I'm going to say most of it is going to backfire on them because we all know what's coming. We understand this. Remember, there's many people that are still sleeping that don't realize what is happening. They're not following the information. They're not following the facts. They don't realize there's going to be a D-class. There's going to be an OIG report. There's going to be a Comey report. They don't see any of this. You know what they see? They see the Mueller report was out, and they see the mainstream media saying there's obstruction. They see Nadler. They see Schiff. They see all of that. That's what they see. That's all. They don't see anything else. They have no clue what is coming. And then they see Biden out there telling everyone how, hey, when I served under Obama, there was nothing. Not one whisper of a scandal. But looking back, the Obama administration was arguably the most corrupt in U.S. history for many reasons. Now, this is very interesting, that during Hillary Clinton's entire tenure as Secretary of State in the Obama administration, Obama never nominated nor filled an Inspector General position. The Wall Street Journal reported back in 2015. The State Department had no permanent Inspector General, the lead watchdog charged with uncovering misconduct and waste during Hillary Clinton's entire tenure as secretary, leaving in place an acting inspector who had close ties to State Department leadership. Obama didn't put forward a nominee to lead the Inspector General's office while Mrs. Clinton led the State Department, making it the only agency with a presidentially appointed Inspector General that had neither a confirmed nor nominated head watchdog. That's very interesting. And we all know that there was corruption, crimes, treason. History will show that Biden, Obama, the Clinton administration was the most corrupt and criminal administration in history. Now, Obama, Biden, Clinton, Brennan, Comey, they all did nothing wrong. Let's go back to March 2017 when Trump tweeted out the following. Terrible. Just found out that Obama had my wires tapped in Trump Tower just before the victory. Nothing found. This is McCarthyism. President Trump continued with a tweet asking whether it was legal for Obama to be spying on his campaign. Is it legal for a sitting president to be wiretapped? A race for president prior to an election? Turned down by court earlier? A new low. President Trump then tweeted a good lawyer could probably make a great case out of Obama's spying. I'd bet a good lawyer could make a case out of the fact that President Obama was tapping my phones in October, just prior to election. Now, in response to his tweets, the mainstream media, they went crazy and called Trump crazy and a liar. But today we know that that isn't the case because we have the facts, we have the proof, we have it documented. And Trump The administration, the Patriots, they're getting ready to declassify. Actually, WikiLeaks released information back on February 23rd, 2016, showing how many times the Obama administration was spying on all different people. Obama spied on UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon. Obama singled out the director of the Rules Division of the World Trade Organization. Obama stole sensitive Italian diplomatic cables. Obama intercepted top EU and Japanese trade ministers discussing their secret strategy and red lines to stop the U.S. extorting them at the World Trade Organization. Obama targeted 5 other top EU economic officials for long-term inception. Obama spied on people here in the government, judges, congressmen, and many others. Ted Cruz was one of them. So Biden is absolutely right. Obama, his administration, not one hint of a scandal. And we know that this is all about the change. Actually, Obama pretty much spied on everybody. The question really is, who didn't he spy on? And we know that this is going to be coming out very, very soon. Now, George Papadopoulos, we know that he tweeted out that Mifsud was in Italy. And once this information was out there, we've come to learn that Trump made a call and called the Prime Minister of Italy. Listen to what George Papadopoulos says.
For international law practice, and I met Joseph Mifsud for the first time actually at a university in Rome called Link Campus, which the CIA and the FBI trains at. So clearly this person, however he was described by Mueller, was fake, and I think it was intentional to make me look like somebody I was not and to obviously harm President Trump. The information that's come out recently about this person, Joseph Mifsud, is that just last week he was outed in Rome, living two blocks away from the U.S. Embassy, and he's still on the payroll of this CIA school there. So it was very interesting to see that when I went public with this information last week, that the president called the Italian prime minister, I think 3 days ago, and I'm certain that Joseph Mifsud was actually brought up.
Now, I wonder what Trump said to the Italian prime minister. I'm sure we're going to find out very, very soon. But the deep state players, they're panicking. And it looks like they're creating a narrative to use to explain why the spying took place. And they're using the word national security as their reasoning for what happened with Trump and everything else. Paul Sperry tweeted out, hearing that the FBI and Department of Justice officials in hot water over Spygate, they're preparing to use defense that national security interests justified bending investigative and surveillance laws and rules, and that in targeting Trump, they acted out of patriotic duty and not any bias to undercut him politically. The only problem with that argument is that it was done illegally. They didn't have real evidence. The dossier is fake. The Rush collusion is fake. They never investigated. They created fake warrants. And this is all coming out. Those individuals that helped create the dossier, they're panicking. Paul Sperry tweeted out. Fusion GPS lawyer insists that while Mueller report debunks dossier's sensational allegations, he confirmed core reporting, including Moscow conducted hacking ops to elect Trump. Sorry, but dossier merely echoed public reporting at the time. It had no inside info or predictive value. And Sperry is right. I mean, they're reaching now to explain to the American public, this is why we did this. But guess what? We're going to find out who signed off, who did what. I mean, we already know all Annans and everyone that's been listening to the alternative media, but all those people that are sleeping, they're going to be presented the facts a little bit at a time to get them up to speed. And it's not going to be propaganda. It's going to be documentation. And it's going to show that this documentation, the way they created it, the way they used it, was completely illegal. Now, the deep state players, they're making their rounds trying to control the narrative. The mainstream media has had Clinton, Biden, Brennan, Clapper, many others, and now Sally Yates trying to convince everyone that the president would have been indicted if he wasn't president. Now, why are they continually pushing this? Because they believe that he's not going to be reelected. And once he's not the president, they're going to go after him. televise the trial, get rid of him, make everyone realize that he was a bad person. Now, we know that this is not going to happen because way before that time, all the evidence is going to come out showing the opposite of what they've been talking about. They obstructed justice. They were treasonous. They committed crimes. Think mirror when you hear this on the news. They're out there trying to protect themselves. Everything that they're talking about when they're talking about obstruction, crimes, being indicted, it's really about them. Let's go back to post 2155 with Sally Yates. This is September 11, 2018. Panic in D.C. King and Spalding hired last week to represent Sally Yates. She's nervous and afraid, and they're trying to make the case right now, trying to convince the public that it's not us, it's Trump. Well, it's the opposite way. Now, in regards to immigration and sanctuary cities, it seems times are now changing. State Senator Joe Gruters created a bill to ban sanctuary cities in Florida and punish any locales that do not comply with federal immigration laws, and it has passed in the Florida Senate 22-18. Now, Governor Ron DeSantis, he has vowed to sign the bill to initiate judicial proceedings against any Florida official who interferes with federal immigration laws. Now, if you think about it, what has Trump done? He threatened everyone, saying that he was going to release the illegals into sanctuary cities. Now, a lot of states are saying, listen, we're going to be passing laws that this is going to be illegal. I think this is part of the strategy. Now, in regards to Iran, it seems the Patriot Plan is working. Iran is now saying that quitting the nuclear proliferation treaty is now an option. Iranian Foreign Minister Zarif says quitting nuclear proliferation treaty is an option amid renewed U.S. sanctions. So it looks like things are headed in the right direction, and what the Patriots are doing, it seems to be working because they see that it's all falling apart. And Trump, his strength in what is going on in exposing the illegal acts of the Obama administration, it is all about to come out. And guess what? I believe they're going to ask Trump, and he said this a while back, that he's expecting a call. I believe they're going to call him, and we're going to see negotiations for a nuclear non-proliferation treaty. Now, over the weekend, it looks like there was another event in Poway, California, where this individual, John T. Ernest, walked into a synagogue and opened fire, killing one person and wounding 3 others. And it looks like there was an off-duty U.S. Border Patrol agent inside the building who shot the shooter as he fled the scene. Now, what's very interesting about this is it looks like they're trying to do the same thing that they've done before. They're saying that he had a manifesto, that he wanted to do the same thing that happened in New Zealand, and he was on the 8chan message boards with the username John T. Ernest. And it looks like there was someone with a weapon in the building that stopped this whole thing from getting out of hand. And I believe their event was completely shut down. So they had another event. They were using the same MO, the manifesto, 8chan. The event didn't go as planned, but the news cycle is clogged with the story. Don Jr. tweeted out, "Imagine how upset the Democrats and the media must be that the terrible California shooter was stopped by an off-duty patrol agent who was exercising his Second Amendment right and was carrying concealed. The double whammy of everything they hate, the Border Patrol and the Second Amendment." I wonder if the Patriots placed this individual in there at the right time, and this individual was from the Border Patrol and was carrying concealed. I mean, it just seems very coincidental. And I know that synagogues, they have usually police with inside them when there's holidays going on, but this just seems very coincidental. So when we look at the plan has many agendas. The deep state is pushing the case that 8chan people are crazy, dangerous. They're pushing this narrative because they know the Comey report, the D-Class, the IG report, they're coming out soon. They're trying to build the narrative that you should not believe those people on 8chan, 4chan who are connected to Q. Remember, they're focusing in on Q, not the message, but Q as a conspiracy. So this whole entire event was, of course, to build the narrative for gun control. Remember, they voted on a new gun control piece of legislation. They want it to pass through the Senate, and they thought if we have something very similar to New Zealand, maybe we can get this off the ground. They were also going to clog the news cycles with this story and build the narrative that 8chan, 4chan people are crazy and dangerous, and Q is crazy, dangerous, and a conspiracy. It all fell apart, but I don't think this is the end, and we're going to be talking about that in just a minute. But let's get into Q's post. This is post 3326. Q says, truth, transparency, and equal justice under the law. Drain the swamp. Now, drain the swamp is all caps, but swamp is in kill brackets, bold, and capitalized. United we stand, we the people, where we go one, we go all. So Q is telling us that we're going to get the truth, the facts. It's going to be completely transparent, and everyone who is going to be tried, they're going to be equal under the law. There's going to be no favoritism whatsoever. No one set of laws for these group of people and these set of laws for these group of people. It's going to be equal justice under the law. Post 3327. Q gave us an article to The Guardian. Now, this article that Q points to is about 2 years old. The title is GCHQ Chief Robert Hannigan Quits. Now, Robert Hannigan left the GCHQ 3 days after Trump was inaugurated. Here's a portion of the article, and it reads as follows. His sudden resignation, he informed staff just hours before making his decision public, prompted speculation that it might be related to British concerns over shared intelligence with the U.S. in the wake of Donald Trump becoming president. But the GCHQ press release stressed that his decision was exclusively for family reasons, as well as his ill wife. Hannigan has 2 elderly parents to look after. He'll remain in his post until a successor is appointed. Now, of course, as we know, they never expected Trump to get elected. Once he was elected, he had access to everything. He was in control. Q says soon to be a household name. Well, in this case, I don't think it's going to be a good thing that his name is going to be a household name, because he's going to be part of the treasonous package that the Patriots are going to present. Let's move on to post 3328. And Annan posted the following. The warrior. A warrior is the protector of his family and those in need. A warrior is the guardian of the ways of honor and courage. A warrior will not put his own desires above what is right. Above all, a warrior is always motivated by his utmost duty. Then the Annan said, D-Class is coming. Q says D-Class pre or post IG report. Comey pre or post IG report. C comes before D. So it looks like the Comey report is coming first. The D class is not the only thing that's coming. According to Joe D, remember, a report on James Comey is coming up very soon, which will lead to criminal referrals. And remember, Hannity interviewed Trump, and we know that everything is going to be declassified. Let's go back to post 2856. And down below in this post, Q said, do not trust the fake news media. You are the majority. We have the Mueller report with an arrow pointing to D-Class, pointing to OIG, pointing to truth, pointing to justice. Now, it looks like it's going to be Mueller pointing to the Comey report, then pointing to D-Class. So they're going to put out the Comey report first. Q says, the Great Awakening, you are the news now. Now, an Annan breaks all of this down for us and explains why the Comey report is going to be coming out first. We all know the story, but it's so simply put together. Keeper for the normies. Extremely concise read on Hillary, Comey, Rosenstein, Mueller, Clinton Foundation, and the circle jerk in D.C. Incest, it's incestuous. From 2001 to 2005, There was an ongoing investigation into the Clinton Foundation. A grand jury had been impaneled. Governments from around the world had donated to the charity. Yes, from 2001 to 2003, none of those donations to the Clinton Foundation were declared. Now, you would think that an honest investigator would be able to figure this out. Guess who took over the investigation in 2002? Bet you can't guess. No other than James Comey. Now, that's interesting, isn't it? Guess who transferred into the Internal Revenue Service to run the tax exemption branch of the IRS? Your friend of mine, our favorite person in the whole world if you are a Tea Party member, pro-life, or a true the vote supporter. Ding, ding, ding. Lois, be on the lookout. Lerner. Now, that's interesting, isn't it? It gets better. Well, not really, but I'm sure this is all just a series of strange coincidences, right? Guess who ran the tax division inside the Department of Injustice from 2001 to 2005? No other than Assistant Attorney General of the United States, Rod Rosenstein. Now, that's interesting, isn't it? Guess who was the director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation during this time frame? I know, it's a miracle, just a coincidence, just an anomaly in statistics and chances. Robert Mueller. What do all four casting characters have in common? They all were briefed and were frontline investigators into Clinton Foundation investigation. Now, that's just a coincidence, right? Okay, let's chalk that last one up to mere chance. Let's fast forward to 2009, shall we? James Comey leaves the Justice Department to go and cash in at Lockheed Martin. Hillary Clinton is running the State Department on her own personal email server, by the way. The Uranium One issue comes to the attention of the Hildebeest. Like all good public servants do, looking out for America's best interests, she decides to support the decision and approve the sale of 20% of U.S. uranium to none other than the Russians. Now, you would be thinking this is fairly straight up deal, except it wasn't. The people got absolutely nothing out of it. However, prior to the sale approval, no other than Bill goes to Moscow, gets paid $500,000 for a 1-hour speech, then meets Putin at his home for a few hours. Okay, no big deal, right? Well, not so fast. The FBI had a mole inside the money laundering and bribery scheme. Guess who was the FBI director during this time frame? Yep, Robert Mueller. He even delivered a uranium sample to Moscow in 2009. Guess who was handling the case within the Justice Department out of the U.S. Attorney's Office in Maryland? No other than Rod Rosenstein. Guess what happened to the informant? The Department of Justice placed a gag order on him and threatened to lock him up if he spoke out about it. Interesting, huh? How does 20% of the most strategic asset of the United States of America end up in Russian hands when the FBI has an informant, a mole, providing inside information to the FBI on the criminal enterprise? Guess what happened soon after the sale was approved? $145 million in donations made their way into the Clinton Foundation from entities directly connected to the Uranium One deal. Guess who was still at the Internal Revenue Service working the charitable division? Yes, Lois Lerner. Interesting, huh? Okay, that's all just another series of coincidences. Nothing to see here, right? Let's fast forward to 2015. Due to a series of tragic events in Benghazi, and after the 9 investigations, the House, Senate, and State Department, Trey Gowdy, who was running the 10th investigation as chairman of the Select Committee on Benghazi, discovers that Hillary Clinton ran the State Department on an unclassified, unauthorized, outlaw personal email server. He also discovered that none of those emails had been turned over when she departed her public service as Secretary of State, which was required by law. He also discovered that there was top secret information contained within her personally archived email. Nothing to see here, people. Now, you can imagine why the Comey report is coming out first, because I think they have to lay all this out to show how Comey was protecting Hillary Clinton and to bring in all the other players. Let's move on to post 3329. Now, an Annan puts up the Aspen Security Conference and makes a connection that Adam Schiff spoke at the same event as Robert Hannikin. And this Annan is pointing this out because there's the document that shows this. Now, Q says, fast forward 1 year, gives us the article to The Hill, and it says Adam Schiff, Glenn Simpson, and their Forrest Gump-like encounter in Aspen. Let me read a little part of this article. They show Schiff meeting at the event with Fusion GPS founder Glenn Simpson, one of the key and most controversial figures in the Russian collusion scandal. Both men insisted to me through spokesmen that they met only briefly last July. So when confronted with the Aspen conference photos of Schiff in sport coat and open-neck dress shirt and Simpson wearing casual attire, representatives for both men tried to minimize their discussion, insisting nothing was discussed about Russia or anything like that. The congressman's response was even more vague. The chairman did not have any pre-planned meeting with Glenn Simpson, and any conversation with him at the Aspen conference would have been brief and social in nature, Schiff spokesman said. Translation: this was just a Forrest Gump-like moment in which the Democrats' chief defender of the dossier and the man whose firm produced it met by accident. Q says, rewind 1 year. Bigger story yet to be discovered. Leak investigations go both ways, Republican and Democrat. A house needs to be constantly cleaned. Post 3330 gives us an article to Sarah Carter. And this says, breaking, FBI tech show agents discuss recruiting White House sources to spy for Bureau. Let me read a little part of this article. Senior Republican chairman submitted a letter Thursday to Department of Justice Attorney General William Barr revealing new text from former FBI Special Agent Peter Strzok to his partner, FBI Attorney Lisa Page, showing their pair had discussed attempts to recruit sources within the White House to allegedly spy on the Trump administration. Senate Appropriations Committee Chairman Charles Grassley and Senate Homeland Security Committee Chairman Ron Johnson revealed the information in a 3-page letter. The text had been obtained by Sarah Carter Tuesday, and information regarding the possible attempt to recruit White House sources had been divulged by several sources to this news site last week. The texts and sources reveal that Strzok had one significant contact within the White House, Vice President Mike Pence's Chief of Staff, Joshua Pitcock, whose wife was working as an analyst for Strzok on the FBI investigation into Hillary Clinton's use of private server. A senior White House official told this news site that Pitcock's wife recused herself from the Clinton investigation as soon as Pence and Trump became the Republican nominees in July 2016. A senior law enforcement official also told Sarah Carter that Pitcock's wife no longer worked under Strzok after she recused herself from Clinton investigation. A former senior intelligence official who spoke to this news site said, "My concern about this is the potential for information to flow from her to her husband to spin any information that the vice president may or may not have heard during that time frame." The former intelligence source said the connection raises questions regarding information that may have moved from FBI into the vice president's orbit regarding former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn, they added. During the time Pitcock served as chief of staff, Flynn became the highest profile target of the now debunked investigation into the campaign. Q says chain of command, chain of custody. Pence's chief of staff's plus wife, FBI 302's, FISA spy, Flynn, will newly discovered evidence, AG Barr, SDNY, free Flynn. I believe so. I believe we're going to see newly discovered evidence. And it's going to free Flynn. And it's all going to come back to this. Now, at the rally at Green Bay, Trump made a pretty epic air cue from last night. He turns to the crowd, creates a circle, and then puts that diagonal line for Q. And it was completely obvious. Now, during the NRA conference, Trump lays out the entire plan, where the country is headed, and that nothing can stop what is about to happen. Take a listen.
Because no matter how many centuries go by, no matter how much the world changes, the central drama of human history remains the same. On one side are those who seek power, control, and domination. And on the other side are patriots like those in this hall who stand upright and plant their feet in eternal defense of our liberty. And with God as our witness, We swear today that we will defend our rights, we will safeguard our freedoms, we will uphold our heritage, we will protect our Constitution, and we will make America stronger, prouder, safer, and greater than ever, ever, ever before.
And as you can see, we are going to take back the country. Now, we know the last event didn't go as planned, and I believe there will be many more to keep the news cycle clogged because they know what's coming, and they're going to push agendas, gun control, 8chan, 4chan, Q is crazy. And James Comey continually tweets out very strange messages, and he tweeted out another one just out of nowhere, and these things don't even make sense. He tweeted out hashtag 5 jobs I've had. 1, grocery store clerk. 2, vocal soloist for church weddings. 3, chemist. 4, strike replacement high school teacher. 5, FBI director interrupted. Now you were fired because you committed crimes. And Trump realized what you were doing and fired you. But that's besides the point. Now, when we look at this, it looks like he just says, okay, these are the 5 jobs I had, and I'm just letting everyone know about it. Now, Annans are looking at this, and they're saying, yeah, this doesn't make sense. Let's decipher this a little bit. Remember, the past tweets that Comey put out were a farce, and we know the roof of Notre Dame, that church, was known as the Forest. So that was a strange coincidence. So they took hashtag 5 jobs I've had, and they broke it down. The number 5, then J, I, and then had, 5 jihad. So 5 jihads. So what does this mean? Well, this is an Arabic word. It is often translated as holy war, but in a purely linguistic sense, the word jihad means struggling or striving. So if a military jihad is required to protect the faith against others, it can be performed using anything from legal, diplomatic, and economic to political means. If there's no peaceful alternative, Islam also allows the use of force, but there are strict rules of engagement. Innocents such as women, children, and invalids must never be harmed, and any peaceful overtures from the enemy must be accepted. Now, we can see that the CIA, the intelligence organizations, they use these paid mercenaries, and they don't really care about innocence or anything like this. So they really don't follow the rules here. They follow what they need to do to get the job done. And we can see that there might be maybe 5 events. And then if you notice, he lists the 5 jobs. Now, if you take the first letter of each one of these jobs that he had, G, V, C, S, F, that turns out to be Grass Valley Charter School Foundation. Now, what's very interesting about this is a school in Nevada. And on May 11th, 2019, there's a Blue Marble Jubilee. And it says, be part of our spectacular family event in Nevada County. Blue Marble Jubilee, Saturday, May 11, 2019, 7 p.m., Nevada County Fairgrounds, a colorful village-style earth-centered festival for families and the entire community. Now, again, we're speculating here. We don't know exactly what he means, but we know that the Comey report is coming out in May. He comes out with this strange tweet, and number 4 says strike, which is very interesting, and he says that, as an FBI director, he was interrupted. He wasn't fired, which is also very interesting. We also know that the D class is following the Comey report, and that's coming out May, June. We also know that the OIG report is coming out in the May, June timeframe. So we know the Comey report is coming out first, and he puts out this strange tweet. This is very interesting. And this is the same time, or right after, Q just posts that the Comey report is coming out first. So this is very odd. And it seems like something might be in the works. Remember, they need to keep the news cycle clogged up so the everyday person doesn't see what is happening. And it looks like we're going to see many more of these type of events coming out, because why? The truth is coming out. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.